You wake up. You reach for your phone before your eyes have fully opened. The algorithm has already decided what you will see, what you will feel, what version of the world you will inhabit today. Okay. And somewhere beneath the surface of your awareness, something in you knows this is not right. Not wrong in a moral sense, but wrong in a deeper way. A way that has no language in your waking life. So your unconscious speaks to you the only way it can. Through dreams. This is not about rejecting technology. This is about recognizing what happens to your psyche when every aspect of your existence is optimized by systems that have no interest in your interior life. You live in a world where data decides what you want before you know you want it. Where your preferences are predicted, your behaviors are nudged. Your identity itself is being quietly constructed by feedback loops you did not design and do not control. And the result is a strange hollowness. It's a feeling that your life is running smoothly, efficiently, successfully even, but that somehow it does not belong to you anymore. Jung called this the persona, the mask you wear. The version of yourself that fits the external demand. But he also understood that the more perfectly you conform to what is expected, the louder your unconscious becomes. The algorithm does not care about your soul. It cares about engagement, conversion, retention. It measures you in clicks and scrolls and seconds of attention. It builds a model of you based on patterns, tendencies, correlations. And that model becomes remarkably accurate at predicting your surface behavior. But it knows nothing of your depth. Nothing of the parts of you that refuse to be quantified. The algorithm cannot see your shadow, cannot register the dreams that wake you at 3 in the morning with images so vivid and strange that you lie there wondering what part of you is trying to speak. You begin to notice something. The more algorithmic your life becomes, the more bizarre your dreams grow. This is not coincidence. Jung discovered that the unconscious compensates. When your conscious life tilts too far in one direction, when it becomes too narrow, too one-sided, it's removed from your vital needs, your unconscious pushes back. It sends you symbols, images, narratives that feel nothing like your curated feeds and optimized routines. A house with rooms you have never seen. A journey through a landscape that follows no map. Figures who speak to you in ways that bypass logic entirely. These are not random firings of neurons. They are your psyche attempting to restore balance, to remind you of dimensions of existence that the algorithm cannot touch. Consider what has happened to your sense of self in this hyper-connected, data-driven reality. You have become proficient at presenting versions of yourself that generate the responses you seek. You know which photos to post, which opinions to voice, which aspects of your experience to highlight, and which to hide. This is persona work. And it is exhausting, because underneath the optimized surface, there is a you that does not fit the model. A you that feels things the algorithm would flag as inconsistent. Wants things that do not align with your predicted preferences. Fears things that your engagement metrics would never reveal. This is your shadow, the unoptimized truth of who you are. Most people respond to this split by doubling down on optimization. They refine the persona further. They study the metrics more carefully. They try to become the person the algorithm says they are. But the psyche does not work this way. You cannot erase your shadow through better branding. You cannot optimize your way to wholeness. And the more you try, the more your dreams will rebel. They will show you what you are refusing to see. They will present your shadow not as a threat, but as territory that belongs to you. It's parts of yourself that are seeking integration, not elimination. The descent into the unconscious is not comfortable. It requires you to take seriously experiences that have no place in your algorithmically mediated life. A dream where you are lost. A dream where you are naked in public. A dream where someone you know appears, but is somehow not themselves. The temptation is to dismiss these as meaningless. To return to the clarity of your data-driven day. Jung understood that these images are speaking in the only language the unconscious has, the language of symbol. A symbol is not a sign with a fixed meaning. It is a living image that points towards something you do not yet fully understand. Something that cannot be reduced to a data point. When you dream of a house, you are not dreaming about real estate. You are encountering your own psyche in architectural form. Different rooms represent different aspects of your inner life. Some are familiar, well-lit, organized. Others are dark, cluttered, forgotten. The house compensates for the narrow space you inhabit in your waking life. It reminds you that you contain multitudes. That you are not the streamlined, frictionless identity the algorithm prefers. You are vast and contradictory and stranger than any model can capture. This is why dream analysis offers a counter-narrative to algorithmic living. The algorithm seeks to make you predictable. The dream seeks to make you whole. The algorithm wants consistency. The dream presents paradox. The algorithm measures what you do. The dream reveals who you are becoming. And becoming, in Jung's framework, is the entire point. He called it individuation. It's a process of integrating the disparate parts of yourself into a coherent but complex whole. A self that is not performing for external validation, but is rooted in internal authority. Individuation cannot be automated. It cannot be outsourced to a system. It requires you to sit with your own symbolic material and ask what it means. Not what it means in general, not what the internet says it means. What it means for you. This is slow work, frustrating work. The kind of work that produces no metrics. You write down a dream, you sit with the images, you notice what feelings arise. You begin to see patterns. A recurring figure, a repeated setting. A theme that will not leave you alone. And gradually, you start to understand that your unconscious has been trying to guide you all along. That it knows things about your path that your conscious mind, with all its optimization strategies, has been too busy to notice. The discipline required here is not the discipline of productivity. It is the discipline of listening, of creating. Space for communication from parts of yourself that do not speak in the language of efficiency. You learn to value the dream not because it makes you more successful, but because it makes you more real. You stop asking what you can extract from it and start asking what it is trying to give you. This shift is everything. It is the difference between treating your psyche as a resource to be optimized and recognizing it as a living system with its own intelligence. Others will not understand this. When you begin to take your dreams seriously, when you start making choices based on internal signals rather than external data, people will project their confusion onto you. They will call you impractical. They will suggest you are overthinking. They will remind you of the metrics you are ignoring. This is projection. They are uncomfortable with the possibility that there might be a form of knowing that does not require validation from outside. That you might be following a guidance system they cannot see and therefore cannot control. Your willingness to trust your own symbolic material threatens the assumption that external optimization is the only path. But the psyche does not respond to shame or manipulation. Cannot guilt yourself into algorithmic compliance and expect to feel whole. You cannot let others dictate your inner life and still call it yours. The shadow you are meeting in your dreams is not asking for your permission to exist. It already exists. The only question is whether you will integrate it consciously or whether it will continue to disrupt your optimized life from the margins. Integration is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming complete. about recognizing that the parts of you that do not fit the model are not flaws. They are dimensions of your humanity that the algorithm was never designed to see. Silence becomes essential in this process. Not the silence of repression, but the silence of listening. You cannot hear the quiet voice of the unconscious if you are constantly consuming the noise the algorithm feeds you. You cannot interpret your symbolic material if you are scrolling through other people's curated lives the moment you wake. The practice of sitting with a dream in silence, of letting it breathe, of resisting the urge to immediately search for its meaning online. This is psychological strength. This is the refusal to let external systems be the final authority on your interior experience. And something happens when you do this. When you begin to live from your own symbolic center rather than from the algorithmic periphery, you become a mirror. People notice something different about you, though they may not be able to name it. There is a groundedness, a coherence. It's not the smoothness of a well-optimized persona, but the solidity of someone who has met their own depths and survived. Your presence disturbs the assumption that we are all just data points. That identity is just a matter of feedback loops and predicted behaviors. You remind them, simply by existing in this way, that there is another possibility. Jung's insight here is profound. The unconscious is not merely personal. It connects to something larger, the collective unconscious, the layer of the psyche that contains patterns and images common to all humanity. The archetypes. When you work with your dreams, you are not just sorting through your individual psychology. You are tapping into a reservoir of meaning that has guided human beings through crises of identity and purpose for millennia. The symbols that appear in your dreams, the house, the journey, the descent, the encounter with the unknown, these are not arbitrary. They are the psyche's way of connecting your personal struggle to the universal human experience of becoming. This is why dreams feel more real than your curated life. Because they are. They are unmediated communication from the core of your being. They do not care about your brand. They do not optimize for engagement. They simply speak the truth of what is happening in your depths. And when you begin to honor that communication, when you give it the same attention you give to your feeds and notifications and metrics, something shifts. Your life starts to feel like it belongs to you again. Not because you have rejected the external world, but because you have reconnected to your internal one. The responsibility of this work is yours alone. No algorithm can do it for you. No one can give you your symbolic meaning. You must encounter it yourself. Sit with it. Wrestle with it. Let it change you. This is the path Jung outlined. The path of individuation. The path of becoming who you actually are beneath all the predictions and projections and optimized performances. It is not a comfortable path, but it is a real one. And in a world that increasingly shapes you from the outside in, the courage to let yourself be shaped from the inside out is not just psychological health. It is an act of quiet rebellion. Your dreams are not an escape from reality. They are the reminder of a deeper reality you have been taught to ignore. A reality where symbols matter more than metrics. Where meaning outweighs efficiency. Where the unoptimized truth of who you are has more value than any algorithmic model of who you should be. This is the counter-narrative Jung offers. Not a rejection of the modern world, but a balancing of it. A recognition that you are more than your data. That your psyche has its own language, its own wisdom, its own path. And that if you are willing to listen, you are willing to descend into the symbolic landscape of your own unconscious and meet what you find there. You will discover something the algorithm can never give you. Yourself, whole, real, irreducibly human.